My name is Ariane Beyn. I'm the curator of the exhibition Readings from Below that you see here in the background in the Times Art Center Berlin. And I'm speaking to Gregor, Kasper and Musquiqui Chihying, who are here today and who made a piece for this exhibition, which we are launching today, the record titled The Currency. And we're going to speak about this record now. First of all, I wanted to ask you both about your individual works and about your collaborative work. I personally have first seen your collaborative piece, Café Togo, which was shown at the Forum Expanded a few years ago, where you focused on a debate that was going on in Wedding at the time in the Afrikanisches Viertel about the naming of the streets, a very current issue, I think. Maybe you could first talk about how you started to collaborate, and then a little bit about each of your individuals' work. I don't know who
So
would
maybe
like to start.
I can start.
Yeah.
We started together in Berlin Art School. It's a program called Art in Context. So basically, this literally means we focus not only to produce art objects, but more to see how the context transfer into different cooperation and art projects. And there was a seminar in the school that focused on Wedding, because Wedding is supposed to be a immigrant region of Berlin. So there was not much specific topics in the seminar. The professor just let us freely explore the area. And then it was a time when a lot of activists, they start to engage into this street name changing movement. And then we came out with this idea that we could make a film about this, but not from only the activism perspective, but more from the other way of making film. I mean, we are personally not a filmmaker, so on the other hand, we have this freedom of kind of create a discussion in an alternative format. And I think that's how I would say our first cooperation, Café Togo, is, we had a lot of luck, actually, because there was a lot of helps from our teachers, from the school, from also actors and activists. And then we luckily achieved this film, and then we see that we actually can do more. And that's how we start to have more cooperation in the following years. Yeah.
Could you maybe also speak about, maybe starting with you, Gregor, about your individual works outside of this collaboration and maybe how it comes together very well, these different interests that you have?
Yeah, I'm working like in different fields, like in the art field or in art education, and I'm doing a lot of participatory projects and mostly connected to history and to remembrance culture. And this also fits good with the interests of Ching, and then we also doing lots of works together. But in my own art practice, I'm always trying to working not so closely in the art world, but in in everyday life and with people from the streets, like a little bit like grassroots, and to see how or what can I do there, and how can art be a tool for just covering small things within everyday life and with people outside of the art world.
And about me, I think Gregor already mentioned a lot of interest I also have. I think since I come to Europe, come to Germany to study, I realized that first of all in the school, or in Berlin in general, not especially 10 years ago when I arrived, there's not many Mandarin speaker. So not mainly discussion about what's going on the other side of the world. I mean, we have a lot of discussion here about Europe, about United States, about maybe colonial history in Africa. But we are living in a globalized world, and obviously there's a very strong influences from which we call in the East. They also connect to the context here. So when I realized that also this very strong power over there in Asia, they don't have a lot of chance to speak about things. And I come from a place where I freely can talk everything. So I start to realize I have this advantage that I use sign languages, but I have a chance to talk, to discuss topic cross-continentally in different projects. And then I realized maybe it could be my approach in my next step to see the things in relate to my background. That's basically how I think. Yeah.
You've also worked with performance and with video and with installation and sculpture in different projects. And now for this project, before we talk about the content, you guys decided to approach a rapper from Togo, this time the real Togo, and record a rap song. Why did you decide for this particular format of a rap song? A 3-minute song in which a lot of information is contained, and then also in 3 languages.
It was in our research trip in Togo. So after our first project, Cafe Togo, we met some friends from Togo. And then we realized our next project could maybe discuss also in Togo. That's why we start our research trip in Togo. And then during our trip, I think we saw some news about Elom's projects because he cooperated with this West African rap musician, and they create a song called 7 Minutes Against CFA. And that was his idea actually, to use a rap song to criticize. I mean, rap songs supposed to have this attitude of criticism. So he adopted this into pick up the topic of the currency, what's happening in West Africa. And we thought it's a very powerful way, and it's very interesting too. And when we also had another research trip in China before. And I mean, for me, it was not the first time, but for Gregor, I think it was kind of a big shock that they're so digitalized in China. Maybe you can talk about your feeling.
Yeah, in China, you have barely any cash money. You pay with WeChat or with Alipay. So if you don't have a smartphone, then you can't buy water or you can buy food. And also the beggars on the streets, they have this WeChat QR code. And so you don't give them money, you just give them money through your phone. And this was like a paradigm shift. And this influenced a lot our discussions also to think about the future of currencies and what are advantages or disadvantages, or how relate this to power structures. And yeah.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about the content of the individual contributions to the rap song that you made. Because each of you is performing, each of the 3 of you are performing one part in your own language and touching different subjects, which I think is not so clear to everyone, because if you don't understand all 3 languages, you don't understand that they're different. It's not the same thing that's being repeated. Also, the tone is very different. Yours, Gregor, has a very soft kind of tone. Elom, of course, is in his kind of usual rap pose. And you also have a kind of a bit of a louder tone in Mandarin, I feel. Can you speak about what you're talking about in this part of your of this rap song?
Yes, so in our first imaging of these projects, we actually proposed to Elom, the musician, that we can together write the lyrics, but he will be the performer because he's the musician, and we obviously are not so well with this technique. But then Elom is the person who actually dragged us down into this project that we should also sing together. And then, yeah, we didn't think about our second career as a musician, but we kind of be dragged by Elom to contribute our voice into the project. But we actually thought it's a good idea because then we are really put ourselves at the front line as an equal position that we all write lyrics and we all sing, we all perform. And so in my part, I talk about this Alipay, which is mainly a dominant way of paying in China, in Hong Kong. Not in Taiwan, because somehow Taiwan is still very cash-based. I don't know why, but when I first visited China, I was also very shocked that I couldn't even buy a bottle of water if I don't have this Alipay. And people will blame you that why you don't have Alipay. I say I have cash, but it's useless. You have to have this app to buy things. And people also giving each other money through this app. So like if I give a friend in front of me $5, $5, they just do like transfer with this app. And it's for me also quite revolutionary that how the people think economy, think the daily usage of money in the other way. And then for this project, I heard that there was a very funny story that in China, in Shandong, there is a guy who also bear the same name called Alipay. So his name is 支付宝. Alipay is English name of this payment system. The original name is called 支付宝 in Mandarin. So 支 is family name, 付宝 is his first name. And coincidentally, this guy, he had the same name, I think, long way before the Alipay exists. So it was just a coincidence. But it turned out that he became television celebrity just because he has the same name as the payment system. So he started to, just a few years ago, if you check the internet, you can still find a lot of his images. He started to travel around different TV programs in China, and many people become his fans, come to him to ask him to sign his signature. So I combine, in my lyrics part, I combine this guy's personal story, who he is, what he's doing, and also a lot of text of how Alipay project their payment system in their advertisement. Because in their advertisement, they express how convenient or how the image about the future life is. So I combine these two stories into the lyrics. So you think when you understand Mandarin, you feel I'm talking about a person, but you also feel I'm talking about a way of future life of this person. So it's kind of, I want to address this in comparison with also, especially Elom's part, because Elom is criticized a future currency in West Africa. And in my opinion is that simultaneously, actually, there's a lot of Eastern, especially Chinese company, invades this digital payment into Africa too, which he didn't mention in his previous music piece. So I kind of want to bring this another way of transform of currency into the song, and also kind of in the conversation with him about different way of transformation of the economy in the future, because it is that Chinese, this Xiaoyijingfu, this is the mother company of the Alipay. They already invest a lot in West Africa, but we don't know what's going to happen because everything is behind or was embedded. We don't see anything. So I think this project would have to be longer to understand or to go deeper to see what's the whole view is and how that will change the life, not only in West Africa but in a globalized scale. It's my part. Yeah.
And maybe you can speak a little bit about your contribution, which is more looking, if you think about perspectives, or from a European perspective, and how maybe the material labor basis of the digital cloud is ignored very often. That also, before you start, it also brings me to the look of this record. Maybe you can explain why it looks like that.
Yeah, shortly we can say that Elom is supposed to be here today, but due to the global corona situation, he cannot make it here. But we will later speak to him with a Zoom meeting with him and Sénamé to discuss more about the project. But now this is a record. It's a 12-inch golden record, and the incident is that this exact size has the electronic buffers, and the electronic buffers is like the basic material for creating electronic chips and for computer and smartphone devices. So we have like this analog technique, which is also like a representation of this digital ground of our daily life. And we thought this is very interesting, and because it combines the analog world and the digital world, and also like music and this electronic world. And so we thought, then for this project, maybe it's good to make a record. So, and not a video or a sculpture, but a record, and because it fits to the context and you have different layers and that goes good together. And now from my part of this song, as a white Western person, it's very easy to speak about the things and to criticize, but it's also having the privilege just to say, this is what's going on in the world, but it has nothing to do with me, and the cloud where I'm living, the iCloud or the Amazon or Google or everything, it's so nice, it's immaterial, and we are living like in a dream world or in a bubble. But when you're looking what's where this digital sphere comes from, then you have this server farms, firstly, these small cities of servers, but where come these servers out from? They're coming like from basic material, like from mostly Africa, where you have all these substances and the soils and these metals which you need to build all this. But how you get these materials through exploitation and dehumanization. And in my song, I want to have a look on how it feels for a white person to realize what's all below this surface. And also my part starts with null, eins, ein, aus, and this is also refers like to the binary digital system, and also it's about to reconnect to breathing and to the body, and so it's to observe also like the feelings one have, but like in daily life, everyone told us, don't look too sharp to this, just consume and do every night things, but don't look too much in like the bad feelings. And I tried then to reconnect to this and to see also personal and to my own body, how can I connect to the things that's going on in the world.
Maybe I should mention that this record was produced in conjunction with the exhibition. For the exhibition, it came out now. We're launching it today, and it's published by Sternberg Press and can be purchased at Sternberg Press. And it has a side B also, I think, that we should come to speak about. Side B is also related to your Togo research. Maybe you can explain a little bit what's happening on side B. Both sides can be listened to here in the exhibition and also, of course, on the internet.
So, yes, there's two sides. The first side is called the currency, which me, Gregor, and Elom, we made this rap song called the currency. And the second side is called the hubs. That's also made by us, we three, but plus Sénamé. He's a architecture based in Lomé. And it's basically start from our interview during our research trip in Lomé. We went to Sénamé's studio. He found a studio called Wall Lab. But the Wall Lab is not only one studio, it's supposed to be a lot in the future. But at the moment, they only achieve 2 in Lomé, and they are preparing for the third one. And in this song, the hubs, Sénamé, we actually have like pretty long interview with him, but we cut out the part of how he project or how he explained this currency system, or was the economy system, be used in Wall Lab, in his studio. So he's not only organized Fed Lab, but he's actually creating a new way of living, including payment system or like economy system. That's why his idea is radical. And we think it's very interesting to project this idea in comparison with the currency, because it's a two-way of the currency, two-way of thinking about economy, and two-way or the approach of this topic. And we just quickly talk about how they function in the Wall Lab. So they try not to use the cash anymore. Instead of that, they set up kind of a platform. And in this platform, people collect credits. So people start to exchange not the money, cash anymore, but these credits. And these credits comes from your, first of all, how you recycle your garbage, for example. If you recycle enough plastic garbage, you get the credits. Or you can also join their farm. They plan to build a lot of city farm in the place where are not used in the city. And if you do the work in the city farm, you can earn the credits too. And you can use these credits to buy the food from them. So you can buy the vegetable, for example, from their farm. So it's become, in the end, a kind of small scale of self-organized economy system. And Sénamé is planned to have this kind of, so he planned one lab have this area of 1 kilometer as a circle, so that this lab, each lab can really concentrate on their communities. I think it's a good idea, because then you don't have really big dream that you will never achieve. 1 kilometer is achievable. And his idea is to have all different 1 kilometer circle in the whole city, from the bottom to the up. And this is a basic idea of the way Sénamé calls smart city, not from the head, from the top to the bottom, from Google or Amazon to us, but on the other way around, from the bottom to the top. And we think it's very good alternative idea to think about how we organize a platform and economy system. Yeah.
Maybe as a last question, you've previously also worked with currencies as a subject in different pieces. Why is this subject so relevant for you right now, so that you develop several pieces and continue in different collaborations to work on it?
So rather than say I'm interested only in currency, but I'm interested in exchange. So there's a lot of way how we exchange. So Gregor also mentioned we exchange history, we exchange story. And the currency is a very material-based way of exchange. So I exchange this with certain products. It's also how the way we live today. And during the research so I was research about from the ancient time till now, how especially Chinese economy influences the Western and also Africa. And I realized there is like very, very old coins from Ming Dynasty appear in East Africa. I mean, it's a legendary story that historians all know. And that proves why Chinese are so excited about this ancient coin from Ming Dynasty appear in Africa, because they prove that Chinese actually arrived in East Africa earlier than Western colonialism, and when the time they actually didn't start to colonize Africa. So they actually want to prove there's a different way to think about colonialism with these coins. And then after this, of course, I'm not saying that it's a good way or bad way, but I'm interested how these coins, single coins, become a way to understand history and a way to understand how the economic system relate to today. So after that, I start step by step to think how we can talk about currency and coins or economy also in a project which we exchange. And I think it's very interesting that also this year in Transmediale, I think they propose a very interesting idea, which I think we can also adopt to our project here, not only the currency, but also the whole exhibition, which is they talk about the difference between network and platform. Because in the 90s, actually people are start to have this discussion about networking, and also internet. That's the things. But today, nobody talk about network anymore. We all talk about platform. We create this platform, we create that platform, which can connect people. So the basic difference is network have to be connected by an equal person. So we are stand on the equal side. A platform is found by somebody who owns the technology. And then we exchange on the platform. So it's fundamentally different. And the thing is, also in the discussion is that network is already died. We can't go back. Because obviously today the whole technology is controlled by the few people from the platform. So the question is how we live with platform. And also I think Sénamé, he proposed a different way of platform which can be organized by the grassroots from bottom. And I also see our project cooperation as a platform to exchange with different artists. And I think it's a, yes, yeah. So I think it's also this exhibition is actually we use the exhibition as a platform to so we are not doing like only exhibit objects here. So this has become a platform we exchange a lot of things. And yeah, so I think it's a good idea.
Maybe as a last question, Gregor, maybe you could say what your next project of your collaborative platform will be, if that's already something you can talk about.
Yeah, we have always different ideas and different projects on a different level of development. But we have one big long-term project in Togo. This is in Misahöhe. This is an old German colonial station, where a friend of us, a Togolese architect who studied in Berlin, had the idea to transform this place to a cultural forum to exchange the people and the ideas in Togo and also worldwide. And we are researching on the history of this place and also on the visions. And we are doing like video works, and also we're thinking to do also maybe install like a new currency there, a Bitcoin-based currency. But yeah, it's all in fluid and in the process. But we are staying in Togo, and this will be also for the next years a very big part of our collaborating practice.
Okay, then now, thank you so much. I think now we have the chance to together speak to Elom and Sénamé via Zoom.
And before we're talking to Elom and Sénamé at Zoom, we want to show a little video, a performance of Elom in Lomé, which he did with his lyrics of the song. And afterwards, we're talking on Zoom.
Case sombre, chambre froide, odeur de rat. Posé sur une table, j'étais un flingue à côté de moi. Une dame hurlait, la bave aux lèvres, attaché les mains derrière une chaise en métal. Un homme s'est approché, a ramassé le gun, l'a posé sur ta tête, puis pressé la détente. Tu vois, cette tache rouge sur mon front, c'est bel et bien le sang de la dame en question. Dénoncer son mari, ouais, dans vos rêves, ce chef rebelle hors pair, mais quelle trahison! Quelques semaines plus tôt, le préfet en question vint voir le roi du village de Pagalam. L'exploitation de la mine sera chinoise. Parle à tes enfants, évitons tout à Rala. Boum! Sabotage de la mine, violente répression. Les hommes en exil, leurs femmes en prison. Danda, la femme de l'homme fut arrêtée, violentée, violée, assassinée. Votre honneur, j'ai tout vu depuis la mallette. Avec des centaines de témoins, ce qu'ils ont fait du corps, je ne peux vous répondre. La mallette fut fermée et moi replongé dans le noir. J'ai revu la lumière dans un magasin de voitures. Benz, Opel, des BMW, monsieur le juge. Je ne suis juste qu'un billet d'écho. Mon vrai nom de naissance, colonie française d'Afrique. CFA, colonie française d'Afrique. Mon vrai nom de naissance, colonie française d'Afrique. Elom Vance, T et Gregor, currency. Greetings from below, Lomé, septembre 92, 2000, peace.
Yeah, okay, so we are ready. We can start now, okay?
Welcome, everyone. Great to be here.
If you speak a little bit louder, that would be great, you know, because our sound system is not working.
Okay.
And the sound of the laptop is very slow, so more energy, please.
Okay. We will shout.
Okay.
Elom, first of all, thank you for the great performance that you sent us, that you gave. Can you hear us?
Thank you.
I hope. You're a hip-hop MC, but you're also an activist at the same time. Maybe we can start with explaining to everyone where your name, Elom Vance, where does that come from? Because we think it's related to a currency, but it's maybe not in the end.
No. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity to talk about what we are doing. So Elom means God loves me in Ewe. It's a common name in Togo. Elom, God loves me. That's the meaning of Elom, is an Ewe word. And Vance is my baptism name, like Vince, like Vince Carter. So I was influenced by Tupac. Those days Tupac the title TUPAC. The Tupac was writing two with the number and PAC Tupac. So my name was Vince, like Vince Carter, Vince. But with the influence of Tupac, it got Vin because in French, 2 and 0 is Vin, like 20. And CE is Vince. You see, so those days I was saying, yeah, like soldiers, you have I don't know how you say in English, but matricule. Like my name is Elom 20CE, Elom Vince, you know. So yeah, but today I'm not defined by Elom Koffi, but I've started with that name and I don't want to change it alone. So yeah, that's the meaning of my name. That's my real name. At home, they call me Vince. And Elom is the name I have on my passport. So I just combined the two of them and that's my artist name. But also that's the way for me to say I'm coming from Togo, but I'm open to the world. I know my roots, but I'm not close to what I can tell, what are the good things that I can take from others. You see, I was Christian because my parents want me to be Christian. So they gave me Vince as a Christian name, but I know I'm more defined by Elom Koffi. That's the meaning of my name.
I think the most obvious question would be, how did the three of you get together to produce this record together, or this song, first of all, the Currency song?
I would say the two of us, I would say the four of us.
And then Sénamé, exactly, then Sénamé on the B side, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And the two of you, of course.
I think first of all, we did the song with Musquiqui and Gregor, and they were asking me what we can do on the other side. And I think, and I've listened to the interview they did with Sénamé before, and I think we as an artist, we are protesting. And I think we are there to show people, see what's going on. And Sénamé was ahead of us because he's proposing, suggesting an alternative already. So that would be great to, on one side, to let people know what's going on, and on the other side, show what are the local alternatives. You see, because we talk about eco later, but when we are protesting against CFA, what are the alternatives that we are suggesting? I think it's just easy sometimes just to say, yeah, you have to change this, you have to change it. But there's another step, which means to suggest, to propose, and this is what Sénamé is doing. So I think that's very relevant. On one side, what's going on, and on the other side, this is an alternative.
We were also thinking about these two different types of music on the record. I mean, before we maybe speak about the Wu Lab, we can speak about how this record came together. On the one side, we have the rap song performed by the three of you. And on the other side, we have Sénamé speaking about the context of the Wu Lab and Lomé. And at the same time, there's a very beautiful jazzy music in the background, which you composed, Elom. How do these two sides go together musically?
Maybe let's start with our side. I think from our side, the challenge was, we are talking about currency. How can we produce the music which can speak without our lyrics about currency? And the idea was, I'm living in Togo, and the place where people exchange more currency are markets. So I went to market to sample women, you know, the way they sell their things. You know, they have to talk about come and buy my food. I can reduce the price. Nice food. You know, that's the place where to move more. So I went there, and she used in China all the digital, the way the currency is digital, and Gregor went to a company or a factory. You see, so for me, musically, even though we didn't say anything, when you can listen to the sound, that can relate you to currency. If you're Chinese, when you listen to the music, you know that, oh, this is related to our currency in China. In Togo, when you speak in Ewe, because what the lady is saying is, oh, please come and buy something for me. Please come and buy some. Oh, please come and pay something. This is what the lady is saying. And from the critical side, you take the sum from a factory. This is what's the meaning, or what's the goal of the money in our society. for the second side, me, I think Sénamé is very dangerous. I used to hear he's a very radical guy because what he's suggesting is ahead of his time, in my perspective. And sometimes I think politically, most of our leaders were killed because they were radical, but they didn't find the sweet way of bringing their radicality. And for me, with what Sénamé is saying, even though his voice is very sweet, I think the content of what he's saying is so radical, so revolutionary. And I think about two of my friends who are very, very sweet too, and radical in the way they play jazz music. So the saxophonist, his name is Kamaru Dakode. He's my pianist when I play Lome, and Koffi Asimaji, who is the saxophonist. So I called the two of them and explained them the project. I know Koffi, the saxophonist, is very, very political too. And I explained them, but Kamaru is not really political. So I said, the guy, I have some melody in my mind, but just play around that melody. I just want you just to be free. I don't want to request many, many times. You listen to the interview and you improvise, but this is the theme, this kind of melody. So that's the way we did it. So I cannot take the granted of like, oh, I've created the melody. Me, I just suggest some melody, and the musicians, they are genius. They are the one who create the music along what Sénamé is saying. And I think this is a sweet radicality. That's the way I can call that thing, because even though you don't want to listen to it, the music is so sweet that just because maybe of the music, you listen to him till the end. And sometimes when people today, there's so many things on internet, people don't take time to listen to interviews or to podcasts. But when you have that kind of sweet music, you know, that is carrying the message, I think that can help bringing a radical message to people. I'm talking a lot, but you know, I love that interview, and I love the ideas, and yeah.
Could you maybe also say how this project, this particular song or this record relates to your other rap music that you publish alone?
Please come again. That was bad. Could you please come again?
Ah, sorry. Could you maybe also say how this song, the Currency song, how this collaboration, how does that relate to your other rap music or to your life as a hip hop MC?
Maybe in two ways. The first one is real personal. I'll be 38 this year, and I've been rapping like for 20 years, and I'm more interested in telling stories today. Telling stories. I want to tell stories. And me, this vinyl, even though we're talking about currency, I'm dedicating this vinyl to the youth of a village called Pagalam. And Pagalam is a village in the north of Togo where they have gold mines, but the autochthon, the people living at that place, are not benefiting from this gold. And people are fighting for China had to take the mine, France had to take the mine. These are the battles. So for me as an MC, as an activist, that's the way for me to tell a story of some people to the world. This also is going on here. So I can talk about the poetry or the storyteller part, but also it's not just for me talking about currency. It's talking about a love story between Danda and Lumu in a context where people are fighting just to get some money and buys all these manufactured products coming from Europe as Benz, Opel, BMW. You know, this is what is moving people, some of our people here. So yeah, so I think all that, I love writing, I love telling stories, and I love protesting, but not just protesting, but also create spaces to think about our societies. And we are here talking about these issues. So that's the way all are related.
Maybe as a last thing, could you also speak about the festival you're organizing? the activist festival. We invite activists from Africa and from the diaspora, as far as I understood.
I think we are doing a lot. We are doing a lot, but maybe you are talking about activism, like ARCTIVISM.
Yes.
Activism is a socio-political festival. Socio-political festival that we launched in 2009. First of all, it was 3 per year, and along it's become 1 or 2 per year. And the idea was to move to many African countries and the diaspora to talk about our history through figures that we think should be known by Africans or should just be known. So what is a triptych. So we started with a documentary on somebody, a figure that we think should be known. Then we have debate, conference, talks, and we end with the art part where we have music, dance, graffiti. When I'm talking about music, all kind of music, but music with a content. And yes, and sometimes we move to schools to talk with children. We invite people that they can relate to, like role models. So something we started in Elom in 2009. The last chapter was in Beyn, in Grand Popo, 32 chapters. With Sénamé, we're trying to organize the 33 chapters this year, and the COVID-19 came. So yeah, it's a very good experience because the song that I did on CFA, and from which I knew Gregor and Ching, I did that song because I did two festivals in Dakar. So when they were looking for a Togolese to represent Togo, just come and say, Elom, we are doing a song again, CFA, and we want you to be in. And that's the idea behind activism, because when we are talking about Pan-Africanism, I think most of the time people are in their own country and talking about Pan-Africanism, but there's no network of people working together. So the idea behind having a moving festival is every time we go to a country, we linked up with artists that we can refer to, artists that we think as we are thinking alike. So the triptych of showing a video documentary talking is not the facade. Behind, we have serious discussions. So what can we do together? What kind of link can we tie up? And yeah, so it's a very important festival in my point of view, coming from judiciary background, like studying law, and see all that is done at the institutional level. I think we should more and more invest our time at the grassroots level. Because as a researcher too, what I can do, I'm doing in my other life, even the content, you have to go on the grass to interview people, focal groups, to do this kind of work. But when it comes to debate about the subject, you have to go to big institutions, workshops, and all these people are no more there. But I think with this kind of festival, you interact directly with people on the ground. What are the needs of the people? When we go, for instance, in prison, to talk with women in prison, because activism is not just that. We move to schools to talk with children. So for me, this is the most important work I'm doing in my life, because it's a work that relates me to people, to human beings. And with that work, I'm trying just to think about life, to make it short. I can talk all over the day, so I'll stop there.
I think this grace road ideal can also already link to Sénamé's idea of technology and the city. Maybe we can also switch to the wall lab.
Yes, okay, then let's switch to the WO lab from there. We've already heard a lot from the WO lab, from the side B of the record, which you can listen to here in the exhibition. So it's a tech lab, a maker space, but it's also a community project, an educational project. And I think right now you're building, if I understand it right, a huge infrastructure where different labs are connected. And it's all related to this idea of a smart city, a future idea. Maybe you can speak a little bit about where the Blue Lab is going now.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. And sorry, my English is not fluent.
Sounds fluent.
Your English is very
It sounds very fluent.
Everything we are doing with the well apps, I say well apps because we have two places right now, and the idea is to have more and more places like this. But today we have two places, well app 0 and well app prime. And what we try to do is to create an alternative to the smart city, which is seen like the future, sort of inevitable future of the city. And in the smart city, you have a big aspect of platforms, what I call digital infrastructure. So in the smart city, you will have a platform for collecting your waste. You will have platform for find food, platform for move in the city, and also platform for exchange. So you have currency based on platforms. And all those platforms we will use in the smart city in future are today developed in the West and are owned by the big tech company like Google, Facebook, etc. And if we don't do anything, in a very close future, we will have to use the Google platform for find a taxi, a Google platform for buying things, Google platform for collecting our waste, etc. And we all know what is the problem with those platforms. Those platforms are not ethics and they don't share the value. And even if those platforms are based on technology, they are archaic considering the potential of new technology. The potential of new technologies today is that they can help to share the value, because the technology we have right now, the new cycle of technology is very distributive. So we can develop platform, develop digital infrastructure who share the value, who are more inclusive and more participative. And so what we try to do in those labs is to develop those platforms. Have a platform to collecting waste, not at the scale of the city right now, but only in 1 kilometer around. Our ambition is using this place, we should be able to give electricity to 1 kilometer around, to feed everybody in 1 kilometer around, to develop the currency in this territory of a 1 kilometer arrow everybody use, etc. And by adding those platforms developed by people in this territory, we will have a smart city, but not a smart city who will be owned by a big company, but which will be owned by the people themselves, because they develop the technology and they share all the value those technologies produce. So it is a sort of utopia, but since 2012, we try to develop it.
Maybe you could also explain a little bit the currency that you have introduced already at the Blue Lab, the digital and the alternative currency that works with the point system.
Okay. Yes, the economic system we have today is the more archaic things you can imagine. The economy based on capitalism is the more, I don't know how to say, it's not something real. It's not connected to the reality. It's a system of abstraction. And it is really a sort of fictional organism, but who rule all our lives. And we need to end this system, because these systems, and we have to end it, but some years ago, we didn't have the tool to stop with this system. And what I am saying right now is that today we have the tool, because the economy is supposed to be just something you can add to a technology, which is the society. The way people are connected is a technology, and all the complexity you have in the exchange we have in a community or in a society is a technology, because those connections help us to eat, to have clothes, to know how we can sleep, etc., etc. And the economy itself is not something who are supposed to be independent of this technology of interaction. And the economy is just the contability of all the interaction we have. But in the system we have right now, the capitalist system, the economy take his independence from the society and become something who have his own finality. It is not a means at the service of the interaction, but is feed itself. But we have today the technology who can help us to just add a sort of new, in French we say calque, to the society, and use and see the economy like just a sort of big contability book who, in which all the interaction we have are notes. And what we try to develop is this type of book. And we try to see how our traditional societies work. It is simple. If I have something and you have another thing, if I need the thing you have, I give you mine and you give me yours. And if we are in a community, I can give you mine, but if you have anything to give me back, it is not a problem, because as we are in a community, the thing you have to give me, you can give him to another one, who can give him to another one, who can give him to me. And it's work when you are in a small scale, you are in a village, it's work. So anyone don't need to own something. Everything is owned by the collectivity, and it is the interaction, the maximum interaction you have, who help the community to be sustainable. But at the scale of the city, this contability is not equivalent, because if I give something to Elom here, I can't say that, okay, give it to someone else and it will come back to me, because the scale is large and we don't know who give to, and we are just creating a book we'll launch next Saturday, in which every interaction will be noted. And in this, by using this tool, you don't need money. You just have to have your page in this book and tell that I give something to Elom at this moment. So Elom have own me something, and the thing Elom own me, I can go to see anyone else and ask something from these people. And so it is a digital book for accountability. It's not really a currency. It's something who are supposed to replace the money. And yes, and we will have a market, because you need to create a guarantee for this type of system. So we'll have a market. Everybody can come and use this currency if you want to leave the system. So you can exchange all the value you accumulate on your page in this book by using them to buy concrete things in the reality if you want to leave the system. And it is an opportunity right now, in fact, with all the debate we have with the CFA, this colonial currency, because the way African leaders are seeing this struggle is like we need to have the right to own our own currency, but by staying in the same system, in the financial capitalism system. But we should use this opportunity to leave the CFA to create another way of, another system of exchange will be more inclusive, more participative, etc. And it is those type of alternative we're trying to launch here.
Yeah, maybe we can just use this chance to also quickly talk about ECHO, because ECHO is supposed to replace CFA soon. And I don't know, those of you might have your own opinion about ECHO. Maybe you can just quickly introduce to our audience what is ECHO and why ECHO is problematic.
Okay, I'm not an economist, so I won't go to the technical aspect of it. I think I leave it to the economist. But I think in French we call something péché originel, like the original sin. Original sin. And I think ECHO has already the original sins. Because why is Macron, the French president, have to go to Côte d'Ivoire and announce to African president, to Africans, that we are changing the ECHO? It seems like somebody is abusing you. And instead of giving you the floor to talk about what you want, the person who is abusing you will say, oh, okay, you feel abused? Okay, no problem. I have a new thing for you. Maybe I'll take you from here, but maybe I'm beating you with 2 sticks. I will just give you maybe 1 stick or with my hand. You see? So that's already then. I won't go back to all this CFA debate about how African states have to put some money at the French bank, how through that, that currency, French or Europeans can guarantee the way they can tap raw materials in Africa, because these are the linkage. Me as an artist and as a Pan-Africanist, I would like us to create our own thing. And people also can lead us try our own thing, make our own mistakes. So I can just even stop there at what I call the original sins. Now there's people, some are brother or economists like Akumbupo, because from my point of view, we cannot talk about currency without talking about him. You see, who even though he and I will be working on some other alternatives too. There's a village, for instance, in Togoville, where people still exchanging, goods, and we are working about how we can take this alternative. But sometimes I didn't agree with him, and I can say it loudly, and I can talk to him too, because they are the technicians. Maybe they can tell you about all these numbers that maybe me, I cannot understand. But as somebody who is a free spirit and with a common sense, at a certain point, I'm saying, okay, you guys, you have all the degrees. Why do you think you should always work with that colonial past? I don't want to talk about France, because sometimes people confuse things like, okay, you're against the French, you're against, no, I'm talking about a system. Why can't you sit down and suggest something new by working with the grassroots? I think each time intellectuals cannot connect with the grassroots to take decisions, they are making mistakes. Because we cannot just be at the top and not decide for people who are on the bottom. So this is what I can call vaguely as original sins. Maybe if I knew we're talking about ECHO, I can make more research to give you technical thing, because there's also technical thing. And the ECHO, for instance, that currency was something that should be known by ECOWAS. ECOWAS, which is the Economical West African Organization. This idea of ECHO was there for a long time. So why at the ECHO level, you have to wait for France, who is not from ECOWAS, to come and say we need to learn something more. And I don't want here just to say the things as, okay, I'm against only people, the colonialists. We have our own responsibility too. And that's why I can link it where we are right now with what Sénamé is doing. Like why Ouattara, a French president of Côte d'Ivoire, have to wait for his young brother or even his son to come from France and tell you, no, you don't want safer, no. So the youth are saying this, they don't know anything about economy, but they're asking questions, why? Like you are in a house, in a home, and your father cannot sustain your family. This is the images that our leaders too are showing us. And we as youth, we say, okay, let's try and things and let's try and make mistakes. But we want something new because in all this economy, in all this colonial, all these, agreement people are signing, there's many clauses sometimes that we don't understand. And because it's not our paradigm. And for me, we are talking about currency, we are talking about it's a question of values and paradigms. What are our values? What are our paradigms? And that's the reason why for me, when I'm talking about CFA, I can just come and talk that CFA is not good, ECO is not good. No, I'm telling a story, a love story, because it's a question of love story. Not just between a man and a woman in my story, but also a question of love story of humanity. And when we can understand that, money will just be a tool for people to accumulate possession, to dominate and to oppress. And we are thinking currency today as something that can connect everybody, where we can put the human being in the center of all our interaction. And I'm not sure ECO is doing this because 60 years ago, we're still not independent. 60. We are not talking about 100 years, 60. So think at the scale of a human being, maybe is large, but at a scale of humanity, it's nothing. So people still have their own habits. And the youth, with all the things that are going on, the way they work is interact today, people just think that they can use their own software, the old software with the new ways, the new way of doing things. And the youth are saying it's not working. So we as an artist too, who are at the grassroots, it's our responsibility sometimes to tell people, hey, pay attention, pay attention. But there's other people who say, not just pay attention, see alternative, we can show you a way. So if you can come, we can do it together, and that will free everybody of us. I'll stop there.
Maybe one last question that relates to all of this, the alternative currency of the Wu Labs, or this idea of a barter currency or a simple exchange that is not really a currency, and this whole kind of neighborhood community connection project. How does that function in relation to the government or so? Is it a struggle to implement this in a big city, or is it smoothly working together with the officials of Lomé? Is it a collaboration, or is it more like a subversive taking over the city?
Me, I'm not doing anything with the government for the reason you can imagine, because we are in Africa. And the second reason is because the government itself is something archaic today, still based on the potential of new technology. You can launch something like Google, who can become tomorrow more powerful than a government because it's scale up. Everybody have it, everybody adopt it. And so I don't think that for doing great things today, you need to discuss with the government. You just have to create your thing, see if people like it and adopt it. And if more millions of people adopt it, the government will follow. But I don't need to discuss with the government because the government don't have the software to be innovative. And I can, me myself, discuss innovation with the government. I just have to do it and let them follow. So I'm feeling free to do everything I want to do. And the people who decide and the people who have my tool in their hands, and it is to them to decide if it is good for them or not. And if it is good for them, we'll fight the good fight to let the government understand that it can't do anything against it. So it's the same with the currency. If tomorrow millions of Togolese decide to use a new currency and not use money anymore, you can't do anything to, in reality, you can't do anything to stop them, And so my responsibility is to, if I see something good, is to try to go to this thing and not ask the permission to the government.
Last time when we visit you, you were saying us that you were telling us that you are planning to build an architecture school as a third lab. And I also want to take this chance to ask how the project is going. Is also stopped by the corona, or you are still pushing the project?
Yes, since the beginning. So the well labs are a network of a laboratory supposed to be all over the city. And at the beginning, we tried to build, the idea is to build them, and in each neighborhood, find a place and build with people of those neighborhoods the lab they can use to develop their own digital infrastructure. And so the first lab we created, we rent for them, but we decided that the third one will really try to achieve this ambition to build it ourselves. And it's supposed also to work like a design school because in fact, we have a big problem with the design itself. In the design school, people are trained to build devices, objects for the market. So when you are in school, you have this formatage to design for the market, and your project is a good project, and your teacher will give you a good observation. If he finds that, he will fit very nicely to the market. And so we need to shift also this way of seeing things and develop new accountability, new value. And if I am in a school and I design something, I have to measure what will be the impact of the thing I developed for the environment. Will it be something who will take the place of something who are already done in a vernacular way by maintaining a very good social and ethics structure, etc., etc. So in this third lab, we will have a new way to teach design by not develop products for markets, but products who are judged for another type of value. And I'm still working on this project. I'm working on it with the Wezenbond Foundation in Berlin and the UDK, University of Arts in Berlin. So I'm supposed to be right now in Berlin for a 6-month residence, but because of the crisis, I do it from wherever I am.
Okay. So you're not postponing it, you're doing it virtually.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, okay.
Question or?
No, I think that was really great, both of your explanation. Maybe one last question. Where do the two of you overlap with your activities and practices? I mean, besides in this currency project, I mean, are there other kind of activities, or how did you two get together? If that's not too personal for the bigger audience.
You know, me, in my perspective, I'm a very spiritual. I think I met him before I came on earth. And I know we meet again after this life. So it's not a question of what is overlap. I think it's not the perspective. You are in a context where we need to innovate. You're in a context where we need to bring something new to the table. And you're in a context where we cannot do it without solidarity. Because when you started saying that you want to be autonomous, you want to take possession of yourself, that leads you to solidarity. And solidarity means overlapping. So that's the way I saw things. And not just about him, but the whole people behind him, in front of him, and the same for me. Like, how can we do things without? We don't have the choice. If you want to be very serious, we need to bring more solidarity. And for me, it's not. I'm not just seeing an architect. I'm not just seeing. I don't know. It's not about all the titles. It's about the spirit that you are bringing and what comes with that spirit. So I think if God gives lives, you know, because we don't know, there's many things that will happen. That is my perspective. I don't know what his perspective.
Yes, yes. I think that maybe Elom didn't know what is his responsibility, but he's calling a lot of things. And my opinion is that by continuing to calling all those things, he are right now in the process to provoke those things, and I'm very interested and curious to see what all those will bring, and I will be very happy and honored to be part of it.
And he's already. So.
I think we are also, we can see this principle, this radicalness inside your own practice. And that's why we are really touched at the first stage. And secondly, we also want to use some other medium to let more people know about this. Also, not only in Germany, but also in the Mandarin speaking world. And I think that's why this project about. It's not about selling music to earn money, but more like to distribute this genuine radical idea.
Great, thank you all. Thank you for participating in this exhibition with this great project. We're opening the exhibition tomorrow, and I'm really sorry that you both cannot be here right now due to the Corona situation.
We are there already. You don't know. You can't ask. We are there.
But we have you now in a film, and maybe you come to Berlin sooner or later anyways. Or we'll see.
Yeah.
I hope, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we will bring, if you don't come to Berlin, we will bring this record to you soon.
I think we can just send the copies to you.
We can also send.
Yeah. The gallery, I mean, the Times Art Center will just send you the copies. I think that's the easiest, no?
Yeah, we can use that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was. Can I ask 2 questions, please?
Sure.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to know how you, Anna, met Gregor and Ching. That's the first question. And second question is more for Gregor and Ching. Do you think, apart from the vinyl format, if something maybe you want to put on Deezer or Spotify, because even though we have an object like a currency, you know, the way it's like a coin, maybe to spread more the message, maybe that's for the distributor. That would be great also to put it on digital platform, because you're talking about digital things. So I don't know. So that's my two questions.
How I met Musquiqui and Gregor. I think I first encountered, the first piece I encountered was actually also a piece by both of them together, which was the, I don't know if you've seen this piece, but it's a Café Togo video installation that was shown here in Berlin a few years ago at the film festival, at the Forum Expanded, in an exhibition space. And it's not at all about Togo. It's about a situation here in Berlin, a location here in Berlin. That film I found extremely interesting, and then later in the preparation for this exhibition I contacted Musquiqui, and after several conversations and Corona coming and everything being postponed, in the end this project became possible for this exhibition because it all came together at the right time and it fits in perfectly.
Thank you.
We also thought that the vinyl is great to have, but it's also like a material object, and a lot of people today don't have a vinyl player. So we also thought, because it's also about this digital payment and the digital sphere and like life today, and so being played in Spotify or Bandcamp or so, it will be the next step, and we will discuss, and then we will launch it also digitally to also because then in Africa or in Asia or in the Americas more people can hear it, because this is just a limited edition. We have like 500 copies, but I think there will be more than 500 people interested in hearing the songs.
I remember last time we talked that we will have another announcement with Elom's label. But later we talk with you about the digital version announcement. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah.
That was really great.
Because in Lomé, it's really early. We started at 9 Lomé time, and this is really great that you make it so early.
First time you wake up early.
don't know.
I think maybe we can show you the version before it's posted tomorrow. Then you can check and see, you know, if you agree with it, if you want. Or we just sent you the link. And the idea is post it tomorrow for the opening.
Yes.
We're acting as if it was live. We're just kind of putting it online at 6 p.m. European time. And then it's kind of, it's running here.
Perfect.
Yeah, so thank you very much again.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Guys, yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Yes, hope to see you soon.